Hello and welcome to the Faces of Mental Health. I am Pulane Mpatswe. My very first live guest today is a fashion designer who prides herself in making beautiful pieces for the African figure. I'm actually wearing one of her beautiful dresses from her latest collection. Her brand is called Ramonescence and her name is Pulane Ramokoni. She'll be taking us through her journey through mental health. Pulane, welcome to the Faces of Mental Health.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Pulane, to the degree that you're comfortable, can you tell us about your mental health journey?
Okay, so I can't exactly say I started on such and such a day, but I noticed a sadness about me or anxiety that I didn't know where it came from. I was always anticipating something horrible to happen. And I think that's the best way for me to sort of explain it. It was almost as if something is about to happen. I knew that there was something wrong with me. I just didn't know how to articulate it. I didn't know how to ask for help because I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
I was exhausted a lot, even with resting. You'll take a day or two resting. It wouldn't go away. It wouldn't go away. I remember there would be times when I'd be driving. So I used to drive from province to province while I was still employed. I'd literally have to stop either at a garage, and if it's a place close by, I would have to stop on the side of the road and cry it out. And then I heard there's drops that I can buy to help with just calming me down. I bought those. I can't exactly say to what extent they worked, but I used them for a while. It didn't go away though. Yeah. So,
and what was going on in your life at that point?
Yeah, there was a lot. I'd just been promoted, and I think when I started noticing it, I'd just been promoted to being an area manager. And I think the pressure of that, I don't know, also contributed a little. I'd been in a relationship, I'm not going to go into details about, that was just, it was not too good. And now looking at how I felt, I realized just how far back it went. It was not during 20 odd, it was not during, it started a lot longer. I remember one time I was in I'd just written a trick and I'd taken a gap year. One of those that you don't volunteer to take.
Yes.
I'd taken a gap year, and we're taught to find solutions in God, in the Bible. I'd look for a solution for this that I'm feeling, and then I was 19, 20. I'd just written the trick. I was at home. I noticed little bits of it. Of the sadness, of anxiety that I didn't know was a sadness or anxiety. I just thought there was something wrong with me. Right. So it goes far back to, I think, high school and maybe even earlier. I don't know because I don't know how to trace it further than that. But I think there's a lot of things that had happened that maybe had contributed to how I was. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah.
And what are some of the symptoms that you could pick up on? I mean, I know you did mention a few. Not sleeping.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I think maximum I would sleep for like 4 hours. I would. There was a shake.
Right.
Sort of. I would be shaking for no reason. I used to have a gesture. I used to rub my thigh like that. I would not sit down and just be sitting down like that. Or I have to get out of the house because then I'm driving myself insane. Yeah.
And how did it affect your life generally?
you like I said, now you're unable to sit still. I'm always looking for a solution to be still.
Right.
And I can't. I was always looking for a solution to why I could not be concentrating. Why am I not being able to sleep? Why am I tired? Because I can't sleep. So work, I don't think I put in a lot of myself in it. Studies, I don't think I put a lot of myself in there, because there was always a reason for me to move away from that.
Right.
And I still can't quite put my finger on it. There's always a reason why I cannot sit and finish something. It's almost as if something horrible is about to happen. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I can control it. Sometimes I just need to breathe in and just calm down.
Right.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that your coping skills were failing? When did you realize that I need help?
This was when everything was literally upside down. So I started being self-employed after being retrenched.
Right.
Now that on its own is just it's a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
You're trying to get this business off the ground. You're also dealing with this retrenchment.
Right.
You don't know if you're coming or you're going. To a point where I think 2019 was so bad that I attempted suicide. And then I had to come back. Now it was not a, can I come back? Can I come back? Or should I go back? It was, you have to go back. You need to, you need a home. You need a home, you know?
Right.
So I came to Lesotho, and I thought maybe I needed to just relax. And obviously COVID sort of forced everyone to get into stop mode. So we got into that. But then I realized when I got here that I'm regressing. I'm not sleeping again. I sleep longer than I should. I'm snappy, and I think everything also affected me. Then I spoke to a cousin of mine who then took me to the hospital. But to answer the question, when I realized that everything was just, it was when everything was just upside down. I could not cope.
Yeah.
I couldn't cope with running the business. I couldn't cope with my life. I couldn't cope with anything.
Yeah. There seems to be a lot that was happening at the time.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your suicidal attempt?
You know, Pulane, I think when people commit suicide, it's or try or attempt, that would be the word, attempt to commit. It's dangerous, because when somebody gets to that, I remember the peace I had with knowing that I'm not going to wake up the following day. The only thing that I knew I didn't want was for my child to wake up and find me in the same house with her like that. So everything that I did it so that I'm away from her. It's scary now thinking back, but the peace that comes with knowing that tomorrow is not coming should be taken seriously. And a lot of people don't. When somebody attempts, it's almost as if they're looking for attention. Maybe there's some that are really are looking for attention, but even they, because you don't know, it would be wise for not just attention to take a person to the doctor for them to get checked up, because it's something else.
Yes.
All I remember was that I knew that tomorrow I'm not going to be awake. And that brought a piece to me that I cannot explain. Yeah.
Okay. So now you came back home, you got assistance. And what was it like for the first time putting a finger on what was happening with your body, getting a diagnosis?
It's empowering. I know now that I'm dealing with this.
Yes.
I know that even when I look for information, the coping mechanisms to deal with this type of illness.
Yes.
As opposed to, I don't know how to explain this that I'm feeling to you.
Right.
Anxiety is debilitating.
Right.
You don't know what's going on with yourself. You don't know. So when you get to understand that, okay, this is the illness, even talking to someone that maybe is able to help you, you're able to articulate yourself because you are meant. It's empowering to know what is going on. It's like somebody that has any other illness that's able to go to a doctor.
Right.
They're able to say, this is what's wrong with
yes.
This is what's wrong with me.
Yes.
It's exactly like
yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like that you mentioned that, because at the end of the day, we have to understand that mental illness is just as important as physical illness.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
interventions and attention that are given to physical illness are also necessary in terms of mental health.
But it's not.
That's very true. I mean,
not.
there's a lot of education that we need to do, and advocacy for everyone now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm now getting into the very last part.
Okay, sorry. Reel it back.
But you know how we do.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
In terms of support now, what would you say the level of support was in your life at that time?
It's a little bit of a tricky situation, tricky question to answer. But I think I would have appreciated a little bit more understanding, a little bit more patience, a little bit more. I see you. I see you. I see what you're doing. And this is work-wise. Now, emotionally, because now I can't exactly explain what's going on to me, it's a little bit difficult. But validation, I think, to any other person is very, very important. The support that came after, I think, was more outside, because I was able to talk about it. And I'm not one to shy away from the fact that I'm on antidepressants, because they liberated me.
Right.
They made me feel better.
Yes.
Again, I was a lot worse than I am. I'm able to function. So the support could have been better.
Okay.
It could have been better.
What are the challenges now on your mental health journey? What are some of the challenges that you encounter now having the diagnosis?
You don't know what tomorrow is going to be like. So when you're okay today, you celebrate. You celebrate it. The other challenges is people demeaning people with mental illnesses. It's almost as if it's not an illness. Snap out of it. Get out of that funk. It's a funk. Or you are told, or people talk about, there's this guy that walks in the middle of the road. And I always say it takes very little for somebody to get there.
Right.
But people take it so light that they say, wahlanya, and it's sad. And that's, I think, for me, the challenge that I have, of people just refusing to understand that this is an illness like any other illness. You have high blood pressure. I don't know what high blood pressure looks like, but I understand that it's an illness. Why is it difficult for you to understand that I have an illness?
Absolutely.
That has a hospital that you can go to. People are referred to a hospital to go manage that illness. The same way that people with high blood pressure, whatever illness, are able to go to the hospital. So why is it so demeaned?
Absolutely.
Why are people that have mental illnesses belittled? And that for me is an illness. But other than that, I think I've accepted everything. When you don't know what you have, as opposed to when you know what you have, not knowing has got me to accept myself now with everything that I have. Really, honestly, I'm not looking for validation from anybody anymore because I know what's wrong with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And during the times when you're battling with anxiety, at that time you didn't even have a diagnosis.
No.
Then
No.
Ramonescence was born, right? And let's talk about that.
Ramonescence was born in the middle of a storm. A tsunami was happening when Ramonescence was born.
Yeah.
But I asked for this. I prayed for it. I asked for it. And change is never easy. I was employed. I was getting paid a monthly salary. I was surviving. But I knew, and this is how Ramonescence was born, I knew that with hand to mouth, I'm not going to be able to do the things that I want to do. And I prayed for my job. I prayed for Ramonescence to be a thing. Literally did that in Jan. And in March, on my birthday, I got retrenched.
On your birthday?
It was on my birthday. On the 2nd of March.
So you received the letter on your birthday?
On my birthday, I was in a meeting with the rest of us that were told that our positions have become redundant. And it was on my birthday, on the 2nd of March. That's how I got to decide that. From there, I drove to, there's a lady that has a CMT, because I'd already started doing these things. It was a side hustle for me. Right. It was not a permanent something. But with the retrenchment, it meant, and even then I was still looking for a job.
Right.
It meant that I had to keep something going, keep my mind going, and maybe have an income. Maybe this thing will. And that's how Ramonescence was born, as a full-time brand that I was trying to create. Yeah. So it was born in the middle of a storm. Yeah.
And how is Ramonescence progressing now?
Sure, guys, I can't say that. I think it's, you hear people that are talking about the brand from outside, people that recognize the brand from outside. Then you realize that you've progressed. But also, I can't take away from the fact that when I came in this country, my Capitec had 2 rand.
Oh my word!
It had 2 rand, and now I'm able to make money and buy myself things, the necessary things that I need to live with, and still grow this brand. It hasn't been an easy path. So its growth is, I'm going to say there's growth, because I started off with people not knowing who I am. Then I moved into town, and there was word of mouth, right? Because even advertising, I mean, there was who was I advertising to? And then I got an opportunity, amazing opportunity, to have my clothes in the Style Hub in town. And then I have now an amazing opportunity to have my clothes sold on Takealot. Right. Business is business. It's like a premature baby that needs constant caring. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, sometimes you're stagnant. But I think I've done good. You have, and you're doing what you love. No, absolutely. It gives me a headache, but I love it. I love it. Yeah, it gives me joy.
And one thing that distinguishes you is you specifically saying you make clothes for certain sizes, the African figure, certain sizes up. Can you tell us how you got to that?
So it's a part selfish, part understanding what the African woman looks like. I'm not exactly a small person. I've never been. And the way a woman's body is built, and this is how when I went to school to go study fashion, that's the reason why. My body, every time I would buy something, I would have to go alter it, the waist, because then the hips are a little bit outer than So that's one of the reasons. But I feel like that was it was a sort of lame-ish way of going into fashion, because clothes, there's a lot of people now that, and even then, that were doing full-figured women's clothes. But I think that's one of the reasons why I went into fashion. The reason why I do full-figured bodies is that women's bodies are beautiful, man. It doesn't matter what shape it is, how big a smaller person is, but the sizes that I've picked from size 36 upwards are sizes that I don't think are fully understood by I think people that make clothes, like your China has petite people.
Right.
The white lady does not have the body that I have. It does not have the big boobs, does not have the bum and the hips and the thick thighs, which is what I wanted to cater for. I wanted a black woman, a full-figured woman to feel beautiful and graceful.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
You're promoting body positivity while doing what you love. Pulane, what would you like people to know about living with anxiety and mental health in general?
It's an illness. Take it seriously. It's an illness like any other illness, like I've said. It needs to be understood as that. We can't be hiding that I'm sick and I've got this, because we need support. Like you, who has whatever illness you have.
Thyroid.
Well, like you, who has the illness that you have, and everybody understands that it's that, and even worse, this one leads people, because of lack of understanding and lack of support, leads people to commit suicide, to kill themselves, which is a little bit unfair, because what's the family structure for? What are the people around you doing? Breaking you down when you're already broken down. I mean, when you've got anxiety, I think majority of the time is overthinking and breaking down things so much that by the time you get to other people, you literally are that small. At least that's how I am to myself. I constantly have to remind myself that you're not that small, because you've broken yourself down so much. Then it's difficult, man. It's not an easy thing to deal with. Even with the pills that I take, sometimes I feel I can't cope. I mean, I look back into the day, I realize that I really didn't do anything. So it's a difficult disease to deal with. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pulane, for coming here and sharing your mental health journey with us. I truly appreciate it, and making the beautiful clothes that you made. There's so much to take from this discussion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, we've learned that it's important to get as soon as possible, to get treatment as soon as possible. And out of difficulties come beautiful things. Like Ramonescence was born at a very critical time in your life, but you made it through, and here we are appreciating your beautiful work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining the Faces of Mental Health, and please join us again for more mental health and mental health content. Please like and subscribe, and also share and engage with us. Until next time.